when nothing truly mattered and we hadn't had a clue. We fell in to play the game. Nothing would ever be the same. There were times when there was laughter. There were times when there was joy. But they took it all away for the pleasure and our pain. Welcome to our whole new world. Shine a light on everything. Please don't be scared for what we know. Welcome to our whole new world. All that I have tried to hide away from the scars we made. This is your chance to understand. We did not design this plan that was built for you. There's nothing you can do. This is my warning. This is your sign that you can't go running high. We will fight for you. You know it to be true. Welcome to our whole new world. Shine a light on everything. Please don't be scared for what we know. Welcome to our whole new world. All that I have tried to hide away from the scars we made. From the scars we
And welcome everyone to Nerd TV for another broadcast here from the RSR Next Generation Cup Series race. This time coming at you live from the simulated Phoenix Raceway here in Arizona. And weather on the track right now is looking pretty good, pretty racy. Last night I called the race and it was 100 degrees, and they run fixed weather here. So 78 degrees on the track, 45%, partly cloudy, 2 miles an hour. It's a fixed weather setup here for the RSR series, so that will not change. And much cooler temperatures should provide a pretty grippy, fun race here at the virtual Phoenix Raceway on the iRacing platform. My name is Jeremy Stanley, aka Jay Swifty on the interwebs. And to my right-hand side, calling the shots and also working the buttons behind the scenes for us tonight, Mr. Dustin Loxton. What's going on, man?
Hey, ready to sit down. It seems like it's been a hot minute since we've done this. RSR had to postpone their last Tuesday race. Couple little complications with a big, massive update from iRacing. To be expected, there was a lot of changes. But people were having issues connecting, so they had to postpone their Auto Club race, which we were a little upset about that because we love Auto Club. But at least they're postponing it, so we'll get to race it. So it's been a hot minute since we've been on the screen, but looking forward to a good Phoenix race. This track is definitely very racy. Has been on the initial configuration and when it was reconfigured. Now to move the start-finish line just before the dog leg. So definitely going to be some good racing. Gonna have to sit here and definitely watch that tire wear. I mean, that's going to be a big one here. Pit strategy is going to be involved in this one here. We're also going to, see drivers utilize that dog leg and drop below that apron. So believe it or not, you're going to see them go 3, 4, sometimes 5 wide going down below that apron, Jeremy.
It's going to look like it for sure, man. And I had great notes that I pulled from yesterday's race. I called from the Full Throttle Sim Racing Series over on our other partner that Jason runs with at LSR TV. So we'll see that kind of translates for me tonight with my playbook that might be a newly revamped one. But qualifying's on. We're going to get our cameras off your screen. We're going to focus on a couple of these drivers. They're going to take lap times here this evening for qualifying, and looks like the fastest qualifier, no shocker to us. Usually it's that number 28, and tonight, same deal. Ryan Bean here from Miami, Florida. He's going to widen out here, turns 1 and 2. And qualifying, you're going to see him on the bottom. He's going to really utilize the track here to warm up his tires. You could do that here because the corner's so slow, and he's going to run all up against the wall. He's going to maximize corner exit speed here. Now, the question is, do you run the dog leg or do you not? He's going to definitely do it, get down there next to the pit entrance wall. Some people don't want to do it. If the car's loose, those bumps upset your car, Dustin, and, you want to maximize what time you can do, so let's see what Ryan does this in the lap number 2 as he's really slow on lap 1.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk scenario on that. A lot of drivers will utilize that because it does. It shortens the track, it cuts the time off, but at what risk? I mean, you know that with these cars and everything else, very rigid when it comes down, so a lot of transitions, a lot of bumps, it can upset the car. So it's definitely a risk to reward scenario when it comes to utilizing that apron. You're going to see a lot of drivers that are going to elect to do that. Some are going to elect to stay up on the track. So, it's going to be interesting to see how it affects these drivers. And if we do have any issues with drivers dropping below the that yellow there going down onto the apron in the dog leg.
And throughout the race, you're going to see people not, some people do it. And one thing I did take away from last night's race is if your car is on edge or if you're on a long run, your tires are worn out, that sudden shift in banking can really kick you sideways. I saw one car do it. As soon as he hits the bump, he 45-degree angle to the inside, collected somebody else, and a couple of people even dipped their wheels just below it, and it kicked them sideways. And that was on majority of the time his long run is. Brian Fine's driver image, Dustin. I don't know if I've seen that one before. I love the decal on the VR with the thumbs up here. Let's see what that image could do for him here in qualifying.
Yeah, definitely pulling some good speed there. He did elect to use the apron there through the dog leg to try to cut that track down. Seemed like it was a fairly good run that he had down there. Didn't seem like it upset the car at all. So again, we're going to see drivers utilize that quite a bit throughout the entire race. And like you said, the issue is going to come later in a run, just before pit stops, when those tires are about at their life limit. That's when you're going to see drivers really start to struggle with that a little bit, because they're already going to be low on grip, and going through that transition, that's where you're going to see those cars get upset.
100%. These next-gen cars have a lot of grip on the beginning, so don't expect them to get loose early on that transition. It'll be on the later side, 100% here, as we're approaching the last minute here of qualifying. A lot of guys have already posted times early. Still, we see your top person, number 28, Ryan Bean, fastest practice, fastest in qualifying as well. Almost matches identically to his practice time. Nathan Campbell, teammate, holds second. Zach Strenthenall in third. Richie Coy fourth. Kyle Gretsch in fifth. That's your top 5 so far with a minute and a half left here in qualifying.
Yeah, we've seen Andrew Little get loose there going through turns 2 and 3 there. Had to collect it back up. So trying to get everything they can out of these cars. You're going to see that, especially on cold tires. That's why you see a lot of these drivers try to warm and put a little bit of heat in those tires before they get going, just to try to maximize that grip during qualifying.
Takes a little bit too to get the heat in these tires. It is the shorter height and tire. Drawing a blank on the name of it, but you would think it wouldn't take that much laps, that many laps to get these things warmed up. But it takes a little bit, and then once they're there, they really are optimized for a long run. But at a short track, they still over time do wear out eventually, and that's when this thing becomes fun. You're gonna see some strategies where maybe the 5th or 6th place car he's going to take it easy for the first 30 laps or so. And then he's going to pass a bunch of people as long as it stays a long green flag run. And you're going to see some people that row to the front early and lead a bunch of laps, which you're probably going to see Stealth Motorsports do that here, as they're kind of controlling the upper half of this field here to start this race. But yeah, there's a bunch of variables here, a bunch of strategies. 70% fuel in the tank. So it's going to give him probably 60 laps. So I think 100% is around 80 or 90. So let's see how that plays. And 3 sets of tires behind the wall and 1 on the car. So 4 total sets. And if you get a bunch of cautions early, that could play into your playbook of when do I change my tires, when do I don't. And Dustin, it looks like session has kicked over to grid. So we're going to go over the starting lineup here for race number 3 of the RSR Next Generation Cup Series at the simulated Phoenix International Raceway. Ryan Bean, P1. Nathan Campbell will start in second. Zach Strenthal will take third. Richie Coy fourth. Kyle Gretsch, fifth place car. To his outside, Adam Boughton in the 10 will start sixth. Seventh place, 57 of Brian Fine. Eighth place, Harold Watkins. Ninth place, Nolan Potter. 10th place, Dwayne Furtick. 11th, Brandon Gagnon. 12th place will be Bob Fitzpatrick. 13th, you'll find the number 15 of John Vlacity. 14th place, Alexander Hodge. 15th place, number 1 of Michael Sheffield. 16th place to his outside, James Catrone. 17th, Tony Ludi. 18th will be James Fitzmaurice. 19th, the 54 of Anthony Younes. 20th, Michael Carter. 21st, Kane Lee. 22nd will be Andrew Little. 23rd place, Justin Hendry. 24th, Jeff Chandler in the 31. 25th place will be Steve Potter. And then family member Brock Potter right behind him there in 26th. 27th will be Robert Fitzpatrick Sr. 28th, Mark Thibodeau. 29th, Jerry Culver. 30th, Richard Gonzalez. 31st, Kent Mueller. 32nd, Kevin Ruff. 33rd, Kevin Zabladil. And Matt Elbrook. 34th place, Dustin. That's the biggest field we've seen here at RSR in a little bit. 34 entries in tonight's race for race number 3.
Yeah, 34 entries. Definitely going to be interesting to see these drivers go at it. Like you said, pit strategy is going to play a factor in tonight. You got 3 sets of spare tires behind the wall, not counting the set that you start on the car. So that's a total of 4. 70% fuel load. We were talking about that with going through. So what that means for all the drivers out there is what these tanks would typically hold at 100% fuel load. These drivers can only fill that up to 70%. And what that does is forces that pit strategy aspect, especially when you're running shorter lap distances. So it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers do it. You're going to see varying pit strategies. You're going to see, Jeremy, like you touched base on it already, you're going to see drivers that will hold back. You're going to see drivers that are going to take it on big time. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun race tonight. Doyle Lawrence already hitting us up. Hello, Nerd Crew. Just got home from work. Glad you were able to join us. It's going to be a damn good race for sure.
You're going to see a lot of intense racing early on. You're going to see some 2 and 3 wide. You're going to see the outside and turns 1 and 2 be utilized. A lot of different variables, but here we are. Green flag is out for the 3rd race of the season. 28, the 2, and everybody else on the inside row like to go below the dog leg. Half the people stay up on top of the dog leg that started on the outside row. We got Brian Fine already loose and hitting a couple cars here. I think the 34, the 11, 33. It's about 5 or 6 cars, I think, Dustin Devolve on lap 1, turn 1, which I saw this exact same thing happen yesterday. So very reminiscent of that. Just, I think what he did is he got on below that yellow line.
Yeah, well, and you got to remember too, cold tires never helps out whatsoever. So that's the unfortunate bad thing about this. They just took the green flag, had to you have to let these things come in, and you see left tire just below that yellow line. These rigid cars for these next gen cup cars, I mean, just there was nothing there that Potter could do. Did an excellent job trying to go around, just squeezed, made slight contact there with the 25. But again, now we're starting to see more of that slow, that shorter track aspect, Jeremy. You know, we had been running at some bigger tracks here. You see the 33 come in and just waylay him. That's Fitzmaurice, had nowhere to go. We've been running on bigger tracks, meaning we had space to sit here and get around drivers. Not so much now at Phoenix. It's a smaller track. It's more confined. So this track starts clogging and getting congested, especially when a wreck happens. You have nowhere to go. You hit the brakes and just hope and pray for the best.
Yeah, I don't know if you have time to kick it over to another camera angle, but since Doyle Lawrence is here, Jeff Chandler, if you could go to his cockpit camera and kind of see what he looked like from the start of the race, you can see how quickly things happen, even at a slower pace. This is on the roof camera here. The wreck happens and it gets so congested. There's cars braking below you, above you. Everyone's grouped up, right? So you just have to kind of hang on here, do what you can. Dustin with that ultra wide field of view here, giving the whole view of the front half of the cockpit, and just squeaks by barely here. It was an I-4 traffic jam in Orlando on a Friday afternoon. You kind of have to be very patient here in these opening laps.
Yeah, and patience is going to be key. I mean, not only just on the track, but you have to let that car come to you. You have to. We've seen it. You got to be careful with this. You got to get some heat in those tires, get the pressures built up in those tires, then start getting racy like that. But this is not uncommon, Jeremy, to see an incident like this happen early on because they just went to green flag. Everybody's trying to get set. They're trying to find their spot and, start to get set into place to start pulling some laps here. And that one there, just a little bit of tire below that yellow line, and you see how it upset that car there. And yes, Doyle, it appears that the 31 of Chandler, no damage. He did a good job checking up on that. So Chandler definitely good. You see the pace truck pulling down. We still have a little bit because since that reconfiguration, now we go down the entire back stretch at pace speed before we get to the start-finish line in the Geico restart zone for that official restart.
Very similar start to last night. They also had a second wreck within 10 laps. Will it be the same thing? We're about to find out. We're about to take the green flag on lap number 5. Scheduled 150 laps, and here we go. Great start by the 28 of Ryan Bean, able to break away from his teammate in number 45 by 3 car lengths here through the dogleg. Gets back to the top here. As you go through turn number 1, we're going to take a look about midfield and see if we're going to see a much cleaner start. Maybe almost a little 3 wide there for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They go back to 2 wide. They remain that way. Richie Coy on the inside here of Zach Strengthenall. Going through 3 and 4, first time on a green flag situation. We stay clean, we stay green, and the 28 with a 5 to 6 car breakaway.
Yeah, Ryan Bean wasting no time trying to get that car set and setting the official pace for this race right now. You see right now he's got about 5-6 car lengths lead over his teammate of Nate Campbell right now. Oh, a little bit of wall rub there from Schrenthal. Coming off that corner. You got to be careful coming off those corners, Jeremy. Again, tighter radius on these corners. They will bounce up if we have another caution flag presented by Boomer Buttonbox.
94 there. Steve Potter collects Michael Carter in the 8. They're entering turn number 3. Just the 94 gives no room to the outside for Michael Carter. Turns himself across the nose entering the corner here as you take an onboard look of him going reverse at 60 miles an hour. You don't want to do that ever. So we're going to do a little VHS rewind here, and you kind of already saw what happened there, but we're going to go normal pace here, then go to slow motion, how Dustin likes to do it right before the moment, keep it a nice romantic 3 wide momentarily here with Kevin Zabadil on the inside, just comes up. Michael literally had nowhere to go, and you're not just going to lift for the guy trying to take away your space. That's not how racing works like that. And he's going to cut his nose, back up into the outside wall.
Oh, that was close, though, there, man. Michael Carter got very close on another hit there after the initial one. Slowed it down, though, to let the 94 wash up the track on that one. So that was smart driving there by Carter to see that happening.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent call there for sure. Hit the brakes, lifted, know he was going to come back up, and then basically clean. Just a little scratch on the nose. And I think the 94 is going to be just fine as well, Dustin. He got a little left rear damage, but it's a short track. As long as nothing mechanically is broken, I think he's going to be 100% A-okay.
Oh, he was until he sat here and backed it into the wall there at the tail end. I don't know if you've seen that, Jeremy, but he backed it into the wall hard trying to pull a Cole Trickle there at the last minute. And it did not work out the way it did in Days of Thunder.
Oh, no, I did not see that. He just, without even brakes, just so Little frustration, I would imagine, on his part, sitting in the cockpit. Things happen when you're behind the wheel with the helmet on, and boop, there's the wall. So he's still on pit road. Well, actually, no, if I could go live, yeah, he's still sitting on pit road now, and we're gonna get the 1 to go signal. So this is gonna put Steve multiple laps down.
Yeah, not the way you want to start this race. Still got a lot of laps left, though. I mean, you still can bounce back from this. You can still get lucky dogs. But these drivers have got to be patient. They've got to be aware of their surroundings. Again, much tighter track, especially when you're going 3 wide like that. You have to be aware of what's going on. Listen to that spotter, because, I mean, that spotter is going to be key. They're going to help you out big time throughout the entire race that's going on. So we need to get into a rhythm. We need to set a pace here. You see the 28 of Ryan Bean and his Stealth Motorsports teammate Nate Campbell leading the front row. Zach Schrententhal in second after a little bit of a wall scrub to his outside. Richie Coy as they get ready to go back to green flag as they are coming around the last corner in the Geico restart zone. Green flag flies. We are back to racing action.
D. Doyle Lawrence got his Welch's apple juice ready to go here for restart number 2. Scattering big time across the dogleg this time into turn number 1.
Oh.
Ooh, almost some contact, a little touch of 3 wide there. It's going to wash up the number 83, Brandon Gagnon. He's going to drop back 2 spots. He's going to be alongside now the number 3. We're going to fight for a position here with Bob, and he's going to give it up real quick. Here comes James Catrone, the 38. Does not get to the inside of Brandon Gagnon. They stay clear there, a couple spots ahead. Great little race here from the 83-27. After 1 lap here, you're going to see this kind of battle for the first 5 laps or so at Phoenix on any restart, which I love Phoenix restarts. They scatter everywhere, run multiple lines. It's a fun time here on the opening laps.
It really is. It's fun for us to watch. May not be so fun for the drivers, especially that initial scatter down to the apron there where you're going 3, 4, sometimes 5 wide, depending on how ballsy drivers want to take it. So that can get a little hairy at times, but as long as the drivers are smart, and so far this restart here has been good. Close racing there between the 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick Jr. and the 34 and Nolan Potter as they were going through the corner. Looks like Potter is going to prevail in that battle there as they both fall back in line, Jeremy. And now we're starting to see that very typical single line racing that we are accustomed to at Phoenix. And you'll only see drivers go 2 wide like that or more, like you do right now through the dogleg, or when they're attempting to make a pass. Almost contact there. Very close call between the 38 of Catrone and the 15 of Velocity.
Yeah, very close call there. And at the same token, I was looking back from last lap, 31 there, Jeff Chandler, big moment off of turn number 2, got really loose, able to save it, but he lost 3 spots on the back straightaway, and is finally starting to try to get one of those spots back from the newly colored 99 machine of Kevin Ruff there. Still side by side going to the dog leg here. A lot of people still electing to shortcut the bottom. It's about a 50-50, maybe 60-40 split going to that bottom, which you're going to see all night long. Some really good side-by-side action here for just outside the 10th place spot.
Absolutely. And it kind of sounds like Kevin Ruff listened to you, Jeremy. A couple weeks back, you gave him a hard time for getting his template updated after the Dark Horse Ford Mustang came out, and it finally looks like he listened to what you were saying, Jeremy. And it's a very sharp-looking car, so a lot of sharp paint jobs out here. Oh, close racing action up there between, what is that, the Tony Ludi in the 88 and the 15 of Velocity. They're getting side-by-side there, a little racy as well. We're going to go on board with Velocity and kind of take a look at some of this race in action.
Yeah, around this 10th place, it's been pretty fun to watch so far from my perspective here from the tower cameras. As we go, still majority down to the inside, cut back up to the top. I saw a couple moments this week to where if you cut really low, you need to make sure you know where that person on the outside is. I saw one person just disregard that, clip him in the left rear, and they both went spinning into the wall in turn number 1. And so far, I've not seen any issue on that through 16 laps here, scheduled 150. And right now, this really 15th, 14th through about 20th, 5 or 6 cars right now, just looking really good, really fun pack to watch. Top 10's kind of spaced out, so we're gonna try to bring all the action on the track, and this is where it's at right now.
Oh yeah, this is the biggest cluster of drivers right now, being led by the 38 of Catrone, and then you see everybody cycling back. The 88 of Ludi, you see the 31 of Chandler making a pass on his Nerd Motorsports teammate there. You see the 15 of Velocity is back there. You got Kane Lee, Kevin Ruff, Michael Carter. So this is the biggest gaggle of cars right now with the most raciness. Yes, I said raciness. That's right. I made that word up. Going on is, like you said, the top 10 is more getting in that set groove, more single file. But you see even this pack here, Jeremy, is starting to do the same thing. About the only side-by-side we really have is between the 99 of Kevin Ruff and the, man, who is that? These new paint jobs.
Kane Lee in the 91.
Kane Lee in the 91. These new paint jobs are throwing me for a trip.
Yeah, it's okay, man. If you can dub the turn, no, sorry, if NASCAR can dub the term drafting track, then you can dub the term raciness. I'm 100% all for that. But we got the camera kind of on Kane Lee, or not Kane Lee, but Kevin Ruff. So I'm going to shout out the series sponsor, BestOne Tire and Service, the official presenting series sponsor for the RSR Next Gen Cup Series. If you're looking for a one-stop automotive repair and tire shop, BestOne Tire and Service helps you get new tires, tire repairs, and auto service you need from the people you can trust. Check out where they are nearest to you by visiting bestonetire.com today.
Oh, these drivers are going to want to be visiting Best One Tire, probably the best series sponsor for a track like this here, or any track where tire management is key. So, I mean, that was one of the things we talked about, Jeremy. Tire management, taking it easy, which also plays a factor in them dropping below that apron, Jeremy. So that can wear down the tires a little bit more as well, dropping on that apron, going through that dog leg. So it's going to be interesting to see how some of these drivers are going to fare in the long run. This is the longest run we've had. Again, a little bit of a rocky start, a couple cautions already, you know, a couple single, double car incidents. So this is the longest run, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers' tire wear is going to play a factor.
Yeah, they restarted on lap 13 going to 14, so it's been, or I'm sorry, let me take that back there. Restarted on lap number 9, so we're 13 laps into this run. They go about 56, I think they can probably stretch it out to 60 laps at most. They don't have the groove in the tire like NASCAR implemented this weekend at Phoenix. So they're going to be able to run these tires a little bit harder. As I saw the 15 of Velocity momentarily get loose right on the back bumper here, the race leader, Ryan Bean. Look at that lead he had there, but we're going to cycle back to about here in 15th
This
through
pack
20th.
just putting on some racing, Jeremy.
It is. You bounce to the leader, then all of a sudden these guys want to go 2 by 2. You can't keep up with what they're doing right now. But this pack has been so... James Catrone cuts John's nose off. I thought he was going around for a spin.
Yeah, as somebody's watching the broadcast, they see us pan away, and they're like, all right, boys, let's get racy again, and they go back side by side. And I mean, this is where these drivers here are racing like they're racing for the lead. I mean, it's not dirty, it's, you know, it's not risky. It's just good, clean, hard racing that they're doing right now. And, I mean, these drivers have been going at it. But, yeah, you talked about the lead that Ryan Bean has. I mean, Ryan Bean is just, he's putting on a clinic right now. Look off his back bumper there. That white car there is second place, his Stealth Motorsports teammate of Nate Campbell. And then right behind him in that Victory Fuel yellow and red machine, very beautiful car, by the way, Mr. Coy, is Richie Coy. But, I mean, you see, he's walking away with it right now. But again, it's still early in the stages, Jeremy. We don't know what the tire wear is going to be. He may be burning his stuff a little faster than what he's expecting or initially wanting to. We won't know for a number of laps right now because, again, this is the longest green flag run we have had tonight thus far.
Yeah, and as things kind of run down a little bit more on this green flag cycle, we're going to see what we're seeing right here on your camera. A lot more spaciness between each car. Very common on a long run. And so we're getting close to lap 30. So it's going to be 20 laps almost on the set of tires. So about a third of the way through this stint, if it remains green all the way, see a little bit of action right here on the back straightaway. This is further back in, or actually within the top 10, 9th and 10th place here. It's Adam Boughton in the 10 and the number 4 of Brock Potter. new skins again. That number 4 Brock Potter throwing me off there. I didn't expect a yellow scheme, not skin. That's for Jason. You're welcome. It looks good though. It takes me a minute, but it looks good. I like it.
I do. I like the scheme changes that they do. It definitely puts that level of uniqueness to it. Just typically somebody like me who's not in the booth, I'm usually behind the scenes a little bit. It throws me off when trying to call them because you get so used to some of these drivers and the schemes that they run. So it's nice to see a change though of pace. But talking about a change of pace, Jeremy, a lot of that racing that we seen just 2-3 laps ago, guess what, is now spaced out, very similar to what you had just talked about. A lot of spacing. That first real big heavy racing we have is now back to that 17th position there. You got Kevin Ruff, you got Kane Lee, you got Velocity there in the 15. These guys here still putting on a show. Michael Carter's back there as well. So a decent sized pack of about 5 to 7 cars here, definitely putting it on. I got to give a shout out to Michael Carter too. I have not seen a Barks Root Beer car in so long, but I tell you what, that is a very cool looking car.
I know you don't like the front number placements, but when you can split the scheme on the door like that to fit the sponsorship and make it look good, hats off to whoever designed Michael Carter's number 8 Chevrolet Camaro. I'm going to shout out also to Michelle Rittenberry on both being very versatile on Facebook and YouTube, saying let's go Cavan number 99. Of course, rooting for him every single week here, every single Tuesday on the RSR Next Gen Cup Series.
She wanted to make sure that shout out made the broadcast. And you know what, Michelle, we appreciate it. We know that you and Doyle Lawrence and a lot of others tune in every week, and we appreciate it so much. We love it. Keep shouting it out. We will get it on the air at some point in time.
Yeah, 100% there. While we're kind of cycling through, shout out to another one of the partners here for the RSR Series, Admin Box. Admin Box is built by iRacers for iRacers to be utilized in league and hosted sessions. Essentially, it's just a big box that has a bunch of admin commands, plugs in simply with a USB cable, and you have all the commands at your fingertips. Much easier to do than try to right click, and we're going to exit that out because, Dustin, we got our third caution here this evening on lap number 32, and we're going to find out where that happened and bring all the replays we can to you, but third caution night, what do we got here? Oh.
It looked like 54 of Younes. Yeah, Anthony Younes looks like just got loose going through the corner. So far, it appears to be a single car incident. Hard contact in that inside wall, but yeah, just a single car incident on that one, and then loses it again trying to recollect it. Jeremy, it just looked like he got back on the throttle there trying to gas it back up again to get going after that initial wall contact, and it just looked like the rear tires just busted loose again. So initially, there's that initial wall contact right there, and then looked like tried to gas it up and a little bit of tire spin, and instead of turning back up into the track, elected to turn it back down. So good heads-up driving on that to make that be as low as what it possibly could have been, because that could have been bad if he would have turned back up into oncoming traffic.
And Doyle probably had a little butt cheek clench there as his scheme from the number 27 Mark Thibodeau was right behind that. These guys are going to come down pit road here. I think it's a great time to take a quick commercial break while they're coming down for tires and fuel. We'll be right back. And back to full screen here as we're about to take the green flag on lap number 38. This will be our third restart this evening, and here we are. Green flag is out here. The 17 of Kevin Zabaldil elected to stay out with some strategy here, and he's going to lead this big pack of cars into turn number 1, scattering all over the front straightaway. And the Cup guys in real life can. Oh, we got a wreck in the back here. Looks like 2 cars, 68, Andrew Little being one of them.
Nolan Potter being another.
And Nolan Potter in the other. I think it was only 2 cars, Dustin. We have to kick it back to the Nerd TV replay to make sure that is true. Actually, I saw some contact with a black and green car back there as well. There's 68 ended. Oh, just locks it up and drives it in too deep, right into the 68 there. Heavy impact to the right side there, and then another car involved, and I think that might have been it. So 3 cars in total.
Yeah, so just it came into the corner there. Again, a 3-wide situation. Came into the corner, and it just the hole closed up. I had to lock it up and got into the back of the 68 of Andrew Little. Andrew Little hits the wall on that one there. Not sure exactly how much damage Andrew Little took in that hit there, Jeremy. We're gonna go back and take a look here and kind of see what happened with Andrew Little as well. You're gonna see the 34 there of Nolan Potter is gonna come hot into the corner there and make contact. Bounced it off the wall there, and that, I mean, he drove away from that. Otherwise, I mean, it was a tank slap, Jeremy, but the damage does not look super significant on the back of that 68 of Andrew Little, so he may actually drive away from this one here pretty decent.
Kind of like the number 8 of Michael Carter a little bit ago. The person who's getting wrecked comes out basically unscathed. And the third car was actually the 88 of Tony Ludi, who came in. Him and the number 1 of Michael Sheffield were door-to-door. They had no way of avoiding each other, and Potter up top there, which puts the third car involved in this wreck. And decent amount of damage to the right front of the 88.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. I mean, this track gets clogged up so fast. You see the 33 going about there around. That's Fitzmaurice getting his lap back there as he was involved in one of the earlier cautions. So lucky dog candidate goes to the 33 of Jimmy Fitzmaurice. But it clogs up so fast, Jeremy, and really the only thing you can do is hit the brakes and hope you can slow down and get around it. Because here's the thing. If you try to turn left or right, chances are you're going to have another car either to your left or your right. So it's just going to cause and make the accident even bigger. Just like the 34 Nolan Potter on that one there. He locked the brakes up going in, coming in too hot. He couldn't turn low because he had a car low on the inside because it was going in 3 wide. So congestion is a big time problem. Here you see the 17 of Zabladil did elect to go down and get fresh tires, come to the service of his crew. But that right there, Jeremy, is already showing pit strategy is already playing a factor there. That means Zabladil is going to be on the freshest tires out of among a lot of these leaders out here now because he elected to save that set of tires for a little bit later. That could play dividends towards the end of this race on whether or not he actually has the freshest tires. And Jeremy, you know as well as I, fresh tires is going to trump old tires any day of the week.
And it very well could. And it's a great pit call there by the 17. I was kind of questioning it, but I went back and looked, and Kevin Zabladil, we haven't really mentioned about him other than the starting lineup for the race about 40 laps ago. And he was floating between 15th and 20th place for the first part of the race, right? Then we had the wreck and we had the caution after the long green flag run. And he stayed out, so he picked up, I think, 17 spots at that moment, led a lap or 2. And then this caution quickly comes out. He comes back down pit road, and he's going to be restarting his race about 25th. At least that's what it stands right now, 27th as it cycles through. It's a little bit of a loss, about 10 spots overall. But at the same token, you know, he's going to quickly get back into the top 15. I have no question about that. A little bit of fresher tire. And he got a lap lead. That's points. That's points toward the season. So a little bit of a strategy, and I like that call.
Yeah, I do too. I love it when drivers elect to attempt to try to do this pit strategy. They'll take that hit early on in the race like Zabladil just did, knowing that it could play dividends and could actually benefit later on in the race, which is where it's going to count the most. So I agree with you, Jeremy. I think it was a good call. I think it's going to pay out, and I definitely feel that we're going to see Zabladil up here sooner rather than later. As green flag flies, the 28 of Bean leading the 19 of Richie Coy right now as you see them all filter down and fan out, going through that dog leg, 3 wide, going through, off into turn 1.
Top 4 or 5 single filed out, but they really spread out there in the 4th caution this evening. Presented by Boomer. Button box is out. We didn't make it off corner exit turn 2, Dustin, and we already see another wreck somewhere in the back, and I see you have it on the Nerd
Thibodeau.
TV replay. Mark Thibodeau, 27, avoided that wreck a couple cautions ago, and well,
Ooh.
what it just that was strange. He was up above the yellow line. How? I've not seen too many cars get loose in that configuration of
Oh,
the track.
Zabladil. Wow. What avoidance on seeing that go on. Brian Fine involved in this one. The 38 of Catrone collected in this one as well. Man, that was weird, though. I mean, just the way that it's... I mean, it was that transition. He transitioned off, was fine, and went to do that transition back up, and that's what we were talking about. It upset that car. And chaos ensued on that one there. Again, collecting the 57 of Fine, the 38 of Catrone, the 27 of Thibodeau on that one. We're going to see if we can't go on board with the 17 of Zabladil on that one there, because that was probably some of the best heads up that I have seen in a while. You see the 27 getting out of shape now. He's going to come back up, a little bit of a bump there. And you see he turns down and away to get around that, and you see all the carnage ensuing afterwards. Looks like Brian Fine might actually get out of that one, Jeremy, with minimal damage. Looked like there was just a little bit of a quarter panel slap on the wall, but definitely the biggest takers of damage on that was a 27 of Thibodeau and the 38 of Catrone on that one.
Yeah, when I was originally looking, I thought he was above the yellow line, but clearly I was wrong. He came from deep within the dog leg there, and I've notated a lot of cars doing that late into a run. I have not seen too many do it early, so that means that 27's running a little bit on the edge on the opening laps with a fresh set of tires and got loose. And that's a game of inches, right? If the 17 was, 2 feet further ahead, he would have been involved in that wreck, but barely able to squeak by. I know he bumped Brian Fine a touch there, but other than that, yeah, just so close to being involved in that one. But great heads up to turn it down away from the wreck and stay clear of being involved of that 4th caution this evening. We're going to go through another one of our sponsors here. Victory Fuel. I got one in my hand right now. Very tasty throttle punch. Appreciate you for sending it out to me, Mr. Dustin. Glad to be purchasing more here shortly. But anyways, they're full. It's a full load of electrolytes, absence of any caffeine, and low sugar content, which makes it the perfect drink to keep you hydrated and energized. Victory Fuel contains no artificial colors and is packed with daily vitamins to support overall health. The best part, it's kid-friendly with that caffeine not being available in the drink, so it makes it a perfect hydration beverage for the entire family. Get fueled to victory today at drinkvictory.com. Promo code is going to be RSR at checkout. It's going to save you 10%.
Yeah, definitely a good product. I have one in my hand as well. Throttle Punch is definitely my favorites. I love it. The good thing is because it's not carbonated. If you don't finish it, you want to save it for later, you can throw it in the fridge and it tastes just as good 3 hours later, nice and cold, as what it did the initial time that you popped that first tab. So definitely a good product.
Not a big drink too. It's not like you have to commit to a 16-ounce can of anything else. It's just a smaller can. It's the perfect amount, I feel like. I'm tired of drinking the big 16 ounces. You go down to the smaller, the 10s, the 12s. This one's a 12-ounce can. It's just a great amount for anyone wanting to just quickly get a little bit of energy, a little bit of healthy water in you, and with a great flavor on top of that. But Pace Truck is back down. We're going to see the 5th green flag fly this evening on lap 48. We're still over 100 laps away. We're 103 away when we get the green flag here. Ryan Bean, Nathan Campbell, your very familiar top 2. Richie Coy finding himself in 3rd place. That's where he finished last night, or actually he finished 2nd place last night. So he's trying to one-up that and see what he can do with Stealth Motorsports. But here we go. Our green flag is out. A little stutter there from the 45 and the 28. But they keep it going. And almost the entire field, Dustin. The Lex take the dog leg this time into turn 1.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if some of these drivers are going to be, as we got 3 wide right now. We got Fitzpatrick Jr. right in. He is the meat in that sandwich there. You got Boughton on the outside there, so that quickly fans and back out to 2 wide. Probably a smart call at this track, but I'm curious to see if some of these drivers, after seeing what happened with Thibodeau, is, oh, you have another one, the 85. Oh, he saves it though.
Oh, Brandon
Excellent.
Gagnon. No, caution's out. Brandon Gagnon, sorry to cut you off there. He slammed the outside wall. Oh, and he brings in Velocity. Twice they make contact, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Alexander Hodge, he gets involved in some spin out there. And short track tempers are starting to flare on the chat side in my ears, so they're going to sort this one out. But Dustin, you got your work cut out for you. There's a lot of different incidents that happened this time.
Yeah, and that all started off, we weren't even looking at that one there. That started off with the 85 of Hendry getting loose but saving it. This one here,
It was above the yellow this time.
Yeah, he was above the yellow, just got loose on that one, and went to gas it up again, roll back on the throttle, and had tire spin right in front of his Nerd Motorsport teammate, Jeff Chandler. Misses another one. Man, we're going to have to start keeping track of how many this guy is missing there. Collects the 3 of Fitzpatrick Jr., and then, again, trying to regain it, comes down right in front of the 15 of Velocity, collects the, what is that, the 7?
That's the one car.
No,
I do
the
believe
one of
Michael
Sheffield. Yeah, so collects the Sheffield back up into the 15 of Velocity. Younes just squeaks by on that one there. You see a lot of drivers going down low. So again, that was just an odd scenario on that one there. And we're gonna go in the helmet here full. So he's losing it. Gets back on the gas, losing it. Oh man, he's just getting ping-ponged all over the place there. And again, that all started with tire slippage on that one there. Just started slipping on it and just had, try to collect it, and just could not.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple other things that happened too. We saw the 85 early. Here's the onboard Jeff Chandler. I think it's his second or third time he's missed a wreck by half a car length or less. So lotto ticket for Mr. Chandler tonight once he gets done with this race. And then there's Alexander Hodge.
There's Hodge. Yeah, that happened further back. Yep.
Take a look at that one too. That was the number 25, I do believe. Yeah, number 25.
So he starts checking up there because he sees everything going on. So the 25.
Dwayne Furtick.
Yep, Furtick. Yep, misses. Oh, come right back up. That's how he got collected. So started saving it, and the speed he was carrying slid right back up the track, right in front of the 11 of Alexander Hodge. Hodge had nowhere to go on that one. Absolutely nowhere to go when it come to that. We'll ride in the cockpit here. You'll see exactly how fast this stuff transpires. You see all the stuff. This is on board with Hodge. You can't even see the 25 because of the A-pillar there. So he thought he was clear, and out of nowhere, the 25 of Furtick just comes sliding back up the track. Right at this point, he can't see anything. Doesn't even know. He sees the smoke, but does not realize until right now that the 25 is sliding right back up in his path, and he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, even if you put the brake pedal down to the floor and turn in any which direction, that was almost impossible to avoid. Dwayne Furtick sliding back up to the track. That was just wrong place, wrong time there for Alexander. And that took out quite a few decent cars there. I think 6 or 7 in total involved in that one. Plus you had the 85 with his isolated incident there on the inside. That was Justin Hendry.
Which he was able to save. He was able to save that one.
He did. He did a great job, and that probably took him out of that big wreck.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that might have been a godsend. He might not have thought it at that point in time, but in retrospect now, seeing what happened, hindsight's 20/20, he's probably like, I'm glad that thing broke loose and I was able to save it then, because he would have been right in the mix.
Only 2% out of that, or two times out of 100, you're gonna be like, I'm glad I got loose in this corner, and that's one of those 2 times.
That's it.
Pace truck is down for the 5th time. We're going to see this restart 6th time, rather, because this is the 6th caution. I think I was 1 shy on my counter, personally. So 6 here. I'm going to be restarting on lap 54. And we got 26 on the lead lap on this restart. New person in 2nd place, the 19 of Richie Coy. trying to see if he can lead a lap, but not going to happen this time around. The 28, Ryan Bean, great restart here. Jumps out to an easy 3 to 4 car lengths before getting to turn number 1. And let's see if we stay clean these next couple laps.
Yeah, I got to agree with Doyle Lawrence in the chat, man. He's like, what is going on, guys? It says, okay, guys, let's settle down and log some laps. I have to agree. 54 laps in out of 150 total distance right now. We need to settle down, let the cars come to you. If you have to give up a spot, not to sit here and push the issue and possibly get your car out of shape, of sorts, and come back later and get it, that might be the better option at this point in time, because at some point in time, some of these drivers' luck is going to sit here and start wearing out. So I have to agree with Doyle on that one there. We need to let's log some laps.
Dustin, these cars are always in shape. If you're spinning around, round is still a shape, so they're always in shape.
They are always in shape. Round is a shape. All right, this guy with his dad jokes for days. All right, I got you. So, but we'll see if we can't get another long green flag run like what we had. I'd love to see green flag pit stops. I want to see the pit strategy that some of these drivers, are looking to put in, and see what they have. Is right now, Ryan Bean, who initially jumped out to that 4 or 5 car length lead at the start, now that's shrunk down, Jeremy. He only has about 2-3 car length lead over the 19 of Richie Coy. Richie Coy trying to chase down that Stealth Motorsports driver. And it looks like Richie has him going into turn 1 and 2. He closes in on him there quite a bit. We'll have to keep watching this here, as this is probably about the biggest challenge that the 28 of Bean has had, as Richie Coy closes in ever so slightly even more. So, Jeremy, we could have a race for the lead, our first race lead under green flag conditions like this, not involving pit strategy, because Zabladil was up there and that was a race for the race lead as well, but that was through pit strategy and pit cycles on that one there. So these drivers here, we may see some good racing going on. As further back right now, you got Harold Watkins trying to look on the inside of the 72 of Gretsch.
The Richie Coy ran 155 laps here just 24 hours prior to tonight's event. So he's definitely got the practice underneath him. And the way how this race is going, Dustin, it's a short run race. The longest green flag stint is 30 laps at most, and we're 60 laps in. So far, do you kind of change your mindset of, hey, I'm not going to save tires because it's not going to do me any good? Do you still try to lag back, or do you just go full throttle for it?
And that's the decision that all these drivers are going to have to make. And Jeremy, if it's me with my luck, the second that I go to hold back thinking that it's going to be short run stints, that's the moment that it ends up going a long run and we hit green flag pit stops, and I burn my stuff up in about 15 laps. So that's the gamble that these drivers are going to have to take. But that's what plays factors in racing like this, is there's so many variables. These drivers have to try to figure out exactly what strategy they're wanting to do. Is right now you see the 28 of Bean starting to stretch that lead out a little bit more, and you see Nate Campbell starting to close in on the 19 of Richie Coy.
Jeff Chandler out of shape there in the dog leg section. At the start finish line, and here we go. The luck has finally run out. He's going to crash into one other person there on the entrance at turn number 1.
No.
He was really out of shape. He was in 8th place coming out of turn 4. And hit the transition. That thing got sent. And then we'll see who he collected here. An orange and white car. I didn't see exactly who that was.
Yeah, it was that transition going down. He was doing so good, dodging all those wrecks and everything else, and made his way up into the top 10 solidly. And just like you said, it's almost like that luck ran out. Is that Hendry that he collected there?
Yes, that was Justin Hendry,
oh,
actually.
man, tough break for Hendry, too, who just saved it not but about 5 laps ago before the last caution come out. And that was hard impact, Jeremy. That was hard impact.
Did you see how much that right rear tire became disconnected from the 31's chassis? Like, that is multiple requirements of repairs in that machine there, and just bam, it hits so hard. All 4 wheels off the ground for a split second, and that's going to ruin Jeff Chandler's race tonight.
That's unfortunate. Like I said, I mean, a driver that had been, he had been working it, dodging all the wrecks and everything else and locking it up, and just that transition, that right rear tire, you seen it disconnect on that one there. heavy damage on that one. So again, tough break for the 31 of Jeff Chandler, who had been doing so well, got himself up into the top 10, and that transition down to the apron just collected it.
Number 38, James Catrone, running around the pace truck. It's going to be his Lucky Dog Award presented by Martin Sports. That's the hashtag get Lucky Dog Award there. He's going to get back to the lead lap, put himself the 26th car on the lead lap for this restart. And man, there's so many fast cars that have been taken out of these wrecks here on the 7th caution in total. We're only 63, 64 laps into this thing. We've got about, just under 100 to go. And yeah, continuing to be a short stint race here. So this is the big question, is that tire strategy, which we haven't touched on the keys to victory yet. But I think right now this is probably the only key to victory, and minus avoiding the wrecks, because that's now a common occurrence here at Phoenix tonight. But how do you manage your 3 sets of tires behind the wall? You've had 7 opportunities to pit for tires. With only 3 sets, it's really tough now to go, okay, I need to pit at this lap or this lap and be good, because somebody else might shortcut you 10 laps later on the next caution. And so that's my main key to victory, is using the tires in pit road to your best to your advantage.
Yeah, my big key to victory here is patience. Let the car and the track come to you. And after what we've seen, Jeremy, I would almost be leery of utilizing that apron going through the dog leg. We've seen that cause issues a couple times now. We've seen it with the 27 of Fitzmaurice going up and collecting the 57 of Fine and the 38 of Catrone. We just seen it with Jeff Chandler on that one. I mean, we've seen it a number of times. I would almost be leery on using that. To me, the payoff is just not worth it. I mean, look at Jeff Chandler. I mean, he'd been doing so well on that one there, and now he's sitting in pits, and like Doyle said, he might be done on that one there. We don't know what the damage is, but it's gonna be substantial. He's gonna be in pits for a while. He's gonna go a number of laps down. So, I don't know. Some drivers just seem like it's that their car is handling that transition, and others not. And it's not just a transition back up, Jeremy. We've seen cars get loose on the transition from the track down to the apron, and we've also seen them break loose from the transition from the apron back up to the track. So it's a two-door, entry and exit on that one there. So you're doubling the amount of risk right off the bat.
Yeah, 100% here. Pace trucks off the field, though. We're going to be restarting once more on lap 66. Green flag flying for the 7th time this evening. And Ryan Bean's getting very familiar, very good at these restarts. Gets about a 3-car length advantage over the 45 this time. Cycling through, got 1 car in the wall slightly on the exit of the dogleg. Does not look to cause any harm to anybody else. We stay green, but it's going to present a little 3-wide action there back between 15th and 20th.
Yeah, these drivers, again, these restarts, they're chaotic. They are chaotic. So it's, again, we have to get through the restart. These drivers have to get in a rhythm. Doyle Lawrence had mentioned it earlier. Jeremy, you and I touched base on it. These drivers need to get in a rhythm. I understand every driver wants to be competitive and wants to go for that win, but that win only counts when you cross that finish line on that final lap. So we got to get to that final lap. So again, some of these drivers, we already see a lot of drivers multiple laps down. Potter's in the 94. Steve Potter's 13 laps down. Fitzmaurice's laps down. A lot of fast drivers are multiple laps down. Brandon Gagnon is laps down. Hendry, who was involved in the last one. Tony Ludi. Bob Fitzpatrick Jr. has been involved in an incident. James Fitzmaurice, who's been involved in it, and Jeff Chandler, Steve Potter, a lot of these drivers, and Jeremy, they've shown tremendous speed at the start of this race, but have been collected in a number of incidents. So again, we got to stay patient, get some laps ticked down.
And most of those guys are not midfielders. Those are guys that compete inside the top 10 every single Tuesday night. And so just one of those races, I guess you just look at the schedule and go, okay, well, I'm due for one bad race every year, so we'll make this one my bad one. We just got to execute well on the other ones, maybe pick up a win to lock in. But we're seeing a good little side-by-side, 23.72 here on the exit of turn number 4. Looks like 10 of Adam Mountain slightly gets a little bit of wall glue, only makes him lose 1 spot. But I think they finally have gotten the Q dust. I've seen, minus this little pack here, which is, what, 8th through 15th. Everybody else is a little bit more spaced out.
Yep. I went ooh earlier because, man, Zach Schrententhal went to arc that corner in and got so close. The 72 of Gretsch got so close to his rear bumper. I thought it was going to be a slide. And just as you say that, we go through the dog leg there, and they almost look like they want to take it 3 wide. But again, Jeremy, I agree. I think some of these drivers are starting to understand, hey, we should probably back it down a couple notches here and, you know, just make it through. I got to give a shout out to Brian Fine, though. This guy has been involved in at least, I know, collected in at least 2 of the incidents, and he sat here and he was the one that brought out the initial first caution getting loose, and he's still running in the top 10 right now. He's running P9, Jeremy, so he's still going. So that just goes to show, even with damage, you can still do this. We have another caution. This one looks like it's going to involve the 15 of Velocity. This one's going to involve a number of cars, Jeremy, as we have another caution out on the track.
Boomer Button Box is getting their money's worth. Here is the 8th caution presented by Boomer Button Box. And yeah, the 15 is going to lose a bunch of hardware here on the front half of his car.
Oh
God,
my
Anthony Younes.
goodness.
Just a 90-degree impact into the wall. That car is the Tony Ludi
Oh
for
my.
the second time gets involved in a wreck, and oh my. You gotta go back to Anthony Younes. He hit that transition onto the dog leg. Like you said, it's not worth it. But man, watch this angle of attack on this outside wall.
Oh my.
It didn't exactly know where to go. That 15 Velocity, I feel bad for him. He just, the closure rate was so strong with 140 miles an hour to almost nothing in a heartbeat. And then there goes Tony, just try to split the gap, could not make it happen.
Yeah, he was trying to split that gap. He saw daylight at the end of the tunnel, and then all of a sudden that tunnel just collapsed, and he had nowhere to go on that one. That's a tough break. That impact, I would be safe to say, Jeremy, that that's probably 3 cars right there. You know, the 54 is done from that impact. The 15, that was hard impact right there. He's probably done, and by the look at this impact right here, I would probably say that Tony Ludi could have terminal damage too. That could be potentially 3 other cars, fast cars, that could be out of this race as well, or at least have extensive damage repair in the pits of 8+ minutes or more.
And speaking of repairs and getting it fixed up, our newest Lucky Dog Award recipient presented by Mart Sports is going to the modified Touring Series car, the 83 of Brandon Gagnon. Still
Look at that, no
clip.
front clip, no nothing.
He's going to come down pit road. He's going to be back on your lead lap here, probably sitting around 20th to 23rd.
Oh yeah, it's he's still out there. I tell you what, no cooling issues on that car. That is for sure. He's got no front clip. It's all front open. But again, points matter. This is why you see these drivers still out here running, even with damaged cars, because points matter, especially towards the end of the season. Every point counts when it's like this. That's why you see Jeff Chandler still sitting in the pits right now getting repairs, because they're looking to try to maximize anything that they can, Jeremy. Any possible points that they could, because we've already seen that these cautions, they can take out cars. I mean, we just seen that the 54 of Younes, the 15 of Velocity, and the 88 of Tony Ludi right now are now in pit road getting extensive repairs done, if not already out of the race. So some of these drivers that got collected earlier can still come out, can still try to gain some positions, and still try to collect some of those ever so vital points.
Yeah, 8 cautions in a matter of half this race, exactly halfway complete at the line this time. And so with 1 lap to go, I think this is a great time to do our Waterford Concepts LLC top 10 recap from the Nerd TV crew. The top 5 has not changed. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's pretty simple. They have not changed positions other than the flip-flop of Zach and Richie Coy. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. 6th place, Brock Potter at number 4, started back in 26th place, utilizing strategy, wreck avoidance, everything in between, moving up himself 20 positions so far in this race. Harold Watkins only up 1, Adam Boughton at 8th, he's up 2, or down 2 rather. Brian Fine is down 2 overall, and then your 10th place car, Michael Carter, up 10. He started 20th, now currently sitting in 10th place on this restart. And that is your Waterford Concepts LLC top 10 recap. Going through turns 3 and 4 now. And we're going to see what kind of restart Mr. Ryan Bean has in store for us this time. It gets the jump once more. 2 car links out the line. And guys, stay off that that dog leg. It is definitely not paying off for a lot of people.
No, and we have seen that. It seems like every caution that we have seen, Jeremy, has had, in some way, shape, or form, has had something to do with that dog leg and that transition going to or from that dog leg. At this point in time, just to ensure that you make it to that ever so vital checkered flag lap to go for the win, I would stay off of it at this point in time. I know that it cuts the course, it's faster, but right now it is not cost effective for some of these drivers.
Yeah, I mean, the top 5 seem to be pretty comfortable with it. Outside of that, we saw the 8th place car, Mr. Chandler, wreck himself. Or getting through there. So like, you're not going to be protected if you're in the top 10. You're still going to have a car that gets upset when you hit those bumps. It's a very stiff suspension, these next gen cars, and so you have to know that. And I like right there, I saw what was it, the 23, Mr. Potter. I like, or Harold Watkins rather. I like what he did. He takes the easy cut through the dog leg, just the first section. It's a lot lighter of a transition. Your car can handle a lot better. It's just when you get to that second groove, when it gets completely flat, that's when your car really gets shaken up. Let's see if he does it this time here. So we got the roof camera in store. Just the light, he's in the follow everybody else this time into the second flat part. You can see how bouncy it is right there.
Yeah, and what you were saying is last time around, he stayed above that white line that was there. So he went in between the yellow and the white line just on that first initial lane that went through there. And what that does is the bumps are not as vicious when you stay up a lane like that. So that could be a way that some of these drivers cut the course a little bit, but at the same time don't put themselves at risk, because you can see how bumpy it is on those transitions. That's where these cars are losing it, Jeremy.
Yeah, and that first transition actually feels pretty strong, at least from that camera angle, and where they're entering the dogleg at that portion. I sometimes like to try to get as low as I can so it's not as bad as you get more toward the center portion of the dogleg. But that's the fast lane. You don't want to turn the wheel too much, cause overheat in the front tires, so you just kind of let your car naturally drift down there. And I'm kind of looking through the top 10, and every single car, Dustin, inside this top 10 is using the same exact line through the dogleg. That almost seems like that's the only comfortable way to go through there.
Right. And something else I'm seeing is, for the most part, look at this straight line racing, Jeremy. It looks like a lot of these drivers are starting to get the hint that we need to start ticking some laps down. We need to start taking it easy, because look at all these drivers, straight line through the corner. But I agree. It definitely looks like a lot of these drivers are taking that same line through just below that white line, going through the dogleg, and that seems like that is the preferred lane through. If memory serves me, on a couple of these accidents that had brought out the boomer button box caution flags, it does, I do recall some of those drivers that did get involved in those went way below that line. So, I mean, that could be something that some of these drivers are picking up, but you got to be careful with it. But it does seem like some drivers are a little bit more comfortable going below that. And if they are, hey, more power to them. You know, that's what racing's all about, is the varying driving styles that we have. And with this being a fixed setup series, these drivers got to be versatile, and they got to try to do anything they can to get an edge.
100% here, and I think this is a great time since they are single file. So we're going to go turn up the 2 presented by Rock 93.5. We'll be right back here in just a few laps. And that was Turn Up the Tunes, presented by iRock 93.5, our sponsored rock station here at Nerd TV, and bring you all the sounds of the next-gen cars go around Phoenix. Now was a great time, Dustin, to do that. We finally got some single-file action. Gives us a little bit of a break from calling all the wrecks and all the 2 and 3 wide we've seen so far here tonight. So a little bit of a low point in this race is going to be good for most of these drivers who are finally able to see what their car can do 40, 50 laps in potentially into this run.
Yeah, and right now we see Ryan Bean is still out to about a 6-7 car length lead right now, but we're seeing little packs of racing. Right now you see a battle for second place between Nate Campbell and Richie Coy, and then further back you got a battle for fourth place between Schrententhal and Brock Potter, and then further back than that you got Harold Watkins running by himself trying to chase down fourth and fifth of Schrententhal and Potter. And then everybody just starts spacing out after that, Jeremy. But you have a couple little pockets of racing that are going on. But again, we're starting to stretch out the run. This is where drivers are going to start seeing what their car can do. They're going to start seeing whether or not they maybe pushed it a little too much and probably should have held off and saved a little bit. Or whether they still got a little bit of juice left in the tank. So this is where it's going to start getting interesting, Jeremy, as we just clicked off lap 94 of a scheduled 150 laps, so approaching 50 laps to go here in just a few short laps.
Yeah, 100%. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Stealth Motorsports. I know they're always fast, but 5 of their 6 cars are inside the top 6. Richie Coy in third is splitting up the team right down the middle. So if it wasn't for him, they would have all 5 of their 6 cars inside the top 5, which is really impressive stuff here from Stealth and what they're able to do week in and week out. Open setups, these guys, doesn't matter if it's a super speedway, short track, you're going to see a lot of their 1.5 mile packages just be super fast, and it's just really impressed when the team can be versatile and stay fast amongst every driver, not just 1 or 2, but every single driver in their stable can get the job done.
I had to sit here and laugh because as you were doing that, like both of these little 2-car packs that were going on, no joke, went side-by-side racing to try to pass the other car, almost just in unison. Richie Coy drifts up the track a little bit, almost makes contact with the 45, or if he did, it was minimal. But these two here, Jeremy, have been battling side-by-side. But yeah, Stealth Motorsports 1.5 mile package that they have is, I mean, it's phenomenal. These guys have been running good, like you said. 5 out of the top 6. The only joker in their hand right now that's kind of splitting up their royal flush is the Nerd Motorsports number 19 of Richie Coy there, who again, like you said, has pulled 150 laps at this very track yesterday. So he's not, shall we say, unprepared when coming into this race, and he's been in the top 4 solidly since the drop of this green flag.
It doesn't matter if he's racing for Fury Motorsports on Wednesday or Mondays, or if he's racing for Nerd Motorsports on Tuesdays. Same paint scheme, same speed. We always know he's a top 5 contender in our book. But I love how the team's able to still race side by side. That was the 4 and the 2 for a little bit, as I was talking previous. Heavy impact, the 72 into the wall. Kyle Gretsch, 7th place from Front Row Racing. Big hard lick there in turn 2 wall.
Yeah, the good thing about these cars, Jeremy, is as long as you don't damage the internal components, the body structure of these cars is pretty resilient. I mean, that's why you can see them tank slap. I mean, look at Brian Fine, who's still running in the top 10. He's been involved in collecting in a couple of these cautions already, and he's still running solidly in the top 10 right now. They're really resilient as long as you do not damage the internal components of these cars. The second you damage one of those, Jeremy, it is catastrophic, and it's going to be extensive damage repair in the pits.
One car loose a little bit into the field. I'm trying to figure out who that was. Got it regathered up. Man, that was a big moment there. Saw some smoke. I think it might have been, maybe the 17 of Kevin Zabladil. Yeah, he got, well, no, actually, you know what? There's a couple cars that had a little bit of issues. The 13 and the 17, they made some contact there about a lap ago, but there was a couple of cars that had involved in some form of issue, but kept it going straight. We stay green.
Yeah, and like I said, you get a lot of packs of drivers as a 34 is
Oh, we got the
way
pit
low
stop,
here.
Dustin.
We got pit stops happening here. Looks like
Yeah.
Ryan Bean and Nate Campbell coming down to the service of their crews. Zach Schrententhal coming down as well. Nolan Potter in the 34. That's why you seen him on the previous camera angle was low. They're entering the pits here. So we got 4 takers right now entering pit road on lap 102. Now, Jeremy, they should be able to go the distance from this point on out, and that could have been what they were waiting on. This relinquishes the lead to Richie Coy, who gets a lap lead. You see he's coming in the pits now. So Richie Coy, Michael Carter in the 8 entering pits as well in that very sexy Barks Root Beer Chevy Camaro coming in. So only 2 takers this time. Ryan Bean and crew still in for the service of their pit crew right now. You see the Jack drop. 28 of Bean is out. Nathan Campbell, Jack's dropped. He's out. Schrententhal should follow, and there he goes. So again, race lead now reversed to the 23 of Harold Watkins.
Very interesting approach to pit entrance there from the number 34, Mr. Potter. He hugged that inside wall in 1 and 2. I thought, like you did for a moment, he might have had an issue, but he was just coming down pit road. And I usually see people cut in normally, like you would expect, but now he takes a shortcut. And I don't know if it gave him any advantage, but so far through the 10 cars or so that have pitted, Dustin, very clean pit entrances. And we're seeing the 23 Watkins. He's going to take that low approach into pit road.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, you think about the same aspect as cutting the dog leg. I mean, it's going to trim some time off of it, as you see Brian Fine in the 57 also coming down to the service of his crew as well. So Brian Fine in, a lot of your top 10 has come into pits. That's going to relinquish the lead to the 72 of Kyle Gretsch right now, as he's out front leading with the 99 of Kevin Ruff running in second. Is Gretsch on the inside of the 38 of Catrone, who has got some of that damage fixed from that earlier incident that collected him from the 27 of Fitzmaurice. I tell you what, though, Ruff has been coming on strong in the later runnings of this, so he could have a car and a setup under him as far as his liking, because there are a couple things you can change that maybe he's set more for the longer runs, Jeremy, because he's now starting to challenge the 72. But remember, these drivers here still have to come down to the service of their crew for at least another pit stop before the end of this race.
Yeah, even through the green flag pit stops, finally we're seeing that's only 7 lead changes amongst 5 different drivers and 4 different teams. So as we're looking at the little 3 wide here, Kevin Ruff gets close there on the entrance of the dogleg section with Gretsch. It's the 19 to 45. The fresh tires are going to zoom on by, no problem. We're still waiting to see some of these others come down pit road. They're extending this run. Now we're on lap 106. We're under 50 laps to go. When you have fresh tires and it's less than 50 to go, if I'm the 99 team, I am telling Kevin, come down pit road right now. That's Kyle Gretsch, Dwayne Furtick, Andrew Little. They got their lap. They need to come down pit road, or else they're going to lose too much time on these old tires. Me personally, you want to maximize what you can, but don't wait too long.
Absolutely, and that's what's going on right now. That's how Kevin Ruff was able to propel himself to the lead. The 72 of Gretsch went into the corner about a lap and a half earlier, and the tires were just screaming at him, and he drifted up, and we've seen Kevin Ruff drift up a couple times as well. These guys need to come into the service of the crew. They need to get 4 fresh Goodyears on these machines and get back out, because every second that they're out there on the track, they are losing distance to Ryan Bean, Nate Campbell, Richie Coy, Zach Schrententhal. They're losing more and more time right now. And I don't know, maybe they're banking on the hope of a caution, because a number of those drivers that pitted are still a lap down, with exception to Bean, Coy, and Campbell, because you just seen them drive by and get their lap back. Right there is Schrententhal. Schrententhal just got his lap back the hard way. But again, how long do you wait, Jeremy? Because if they wait too long, it's going to hurt them.
See one car, I think, on the outside wall of 1 and 2, and there it is. Caution is out for the 9th time. Number 3 there, Bob Fitzpatrick. I don't know if he was the caution.
Oh,
man. We have to go back and take a look. I don't think he spun, at least from what I was listening to, but it was enough to bring the caution out, and there he's just slow. And I guess iRacing was like, you're too slow on the racing surface. We got to throw the yellow.
Yeah, and he drove in the corner. You see the right rear tire just gave loose on that. He tried to throttle it and counter steer it out of it and just slowed down because he didn't want to cut down in traffic. And because of his lower speed, iRacing elected to throw the yellow on that one there. Now, Jeremy, what this does is this catches a lot of drivers a lap down that did come into pit. And all those drivers like Kevin Ruff that stayed out, they now have the freshest tires. And guess what? All those other drivers have to circle around on the waiver round just to get those laps back, with the exception of Bean, Campbell, Coy, and Schrittenthal. Those drivers there, they got their lap back the hard way, so they will retain at the front end of this field once everything cycles through, because we got pit stops. We got people that are at the tail end of the lead lap right now that will get waiver rounds. This is what we were talking about, Jeremy. This is that pit strategy when you come to these mile-and-a-half complexes like this. This is where it gets real interesting. This is where it gets real fun.
Yeah, you gotta feel bad for the Catrone, Brian Fine, Adam Boughton, the one lap down cars that would have been on your lead lap. And you would think, well, the guys that stayed out need a pit, right? Well, you said the hard way was taken by the 28, the 45, the 19, and a couple others. So they're already on the lead lap and they got their tires. So they're staying out. That's going to remain the 38, the 57, and the 10 a lap down. If they take the wave around, their tires are 40 plus laps older, and you can't pit when you do the wave around. That's a really tough spot. They need a quick caution to kind of cycle themselves back into a position to where they can contend for the top 20, top 15, yada yada. So just a heartbreak there for the 38, 57, and 10.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too, is even if a caution comes out, Jeremy, you have these lead lap cars. If all those lead lap cars, if just one of them stays out, which is a very good possibility, especially if it's one that's on fresher tires, those other drivers don't give a wave round. That means the only way that they're actually able to get their lap back is if they are the first car one lap down to get that lucky dog. So this is a longer list of lap down cars if they're, if they cannot get that wave around under this particular set of circumstances right now. So it's again, that's that pit strategy, and I think that's what drivers like Kevin Ruff was waiting on. He was expecting a caution like that. The 72 of Gretsch, that's what they were waiting on, was a caution. Drivers get this gut feeling. You've seen it numerous times, Jeremy. You run with me at plate tracks, and you see me drop back, I see you drop back, and we instantly know it's because you get that gut feeling like something's coming. And this time it paid off for Kevin Ruff, and we've seen it pay off one other time last season for him on a very similar situation. So it's not a situation he's uncommon with.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I see Michelle Rittenberry on the Facebook side saying, let's go. And she's referring to Kevin Ruff he actually led some laps there before the caution came out. And he's up from 32nd to 8th place on this restart with fresh tires. Fresher than the 28, then the 19, then the 45, then the 34. He's in a spot, Kevin Ruff, if he can tire manage and it stays green, don't be surprised if you see Kevin well inside this top 5 with how much extra laps that the other guys in front of him have on their tires. So it's going to be part of that strategy. See the pace truck down. We're going to go green flag for the 9th time, well 10th time really, on lap 115. So we got 36 laps to go once they go green flag here. Here it is, great restart by the 72 Kyle Gretsch. First time he's going to lead this race here, and a lot more single file to the dogleg, Dustin.
Yeah, you see Gretsch
rack 19, Richie Coy.
No!
Oh, they're piling them up. Kevin Ruff is involved, so scratch that. Michael Carter. I see about 7 or 8 cars minimum involved in this one, all started by the 12, Robert Fitzpatrick, 19 of Richie Coy, and being on a restart, Dustin, they're all piled up in there.
Well, and on that restart, too, I noticed that the 12 did not have the best restart. It looked like might have had a little bit of tire spin going through there, and just look at that. 3 wide going up. Richie Coy thought maybe he was going to have the 12 clear on that one there. with as slow as a restart that he had, was not expecting that, and just it was just that clip right there, and that's all it took. And then you just see everybody else piling in. You got the 91 of Kane Lee's involved in that one as well. You see the 8 of Michael Carter come in. You see the 99 of Kevin Ruff. He's backed up there against that. Heavy damage on that machine. Unfortunate, because he was, again, looking to possibly, benefit the most out of that whole situation that the caution came out with that pit strategy. So tough break, Jeremy.
And watch the 99. I think Cavan does this to himself. The wreck happens above him, which he goes for wreck avoidance. But watch how far he drops down. He cuts down so far for almost no reason, and then he has to check up because he clips right there the 25 of Furtick,
Oh,
and then right there the 91 just has nowhere to go. Kane Lee has to run to the back of the 99, and that's
27
what
of
causes the
Fitzmaurice
pileup.
involved in that one there. Oh, man.
So
Yeah,
Rick,
and that one there was tough. I mean, in that same situation, though, I mean, he sees that, he moves down, slight contact with the 25. Right there, you see it. It slows him up, and Kane Lee has got no time to react because Kane Lee's backing out of the throttle a little bit, but he's not all the way out of the throttle because the wreck is happening way to his right to the outside. And he had no place to go on that one once the 99 of Ruff had to slow up after contact was made with the 25. That's an unfortunate set of circumstances that took place on that one there. It's an unfortunate situation.
and it takes one simple mistake like that late in the going here.
Look at
Richie
that.
just thought he was clear, and then yeah, just nowhere to go. Kane Lee just has to run to the back of him, gets to the outside wall. I think everyone else avoided him. So Kane Lee overall doesn't get too badly hurt. I think he's gonna be able to be just fine on a simple repair. But that's the 10th caution this evening, Dustin.
Yeah, and again, a lot of beat up cars now, Jeremy. I mean, this puts a lot more of them in there. I mean, we've seen the 19 of Richie Coy, who was fast. He'd been running up in the top 4 all night long, involved in that one there. I mean, we've seen the 99 of Ruff, who set himself up for a good pit strategy, and as long as he played the cards right, he would have been able to get up in there. He was involved in that one. Kane Lee has been fast. He's been hovering around that top 10, top 15. He's involved in that one there. A lot of fast drivers again, and we're seeing a lot of beat up cars right now. It's tough at this point in time. I mean, it's setting it up more and more for Stealth Motorsports, who, Jeremy, right now hold the top 4 positions on the board, being Bean, Campbell, Brock Potter, and Zach Schrintenthal. So, I mean, it's just setting it up, making it easier for them, because a lot of their tough competition coming in that had the speed to get up there now are damaged.
That's absolutely correct. And I'm going to do a quick shout out to a series sponsor before we go green. And it's going to be a very fitting one. If you want to chill a little bit, Space Panda is going to have you covered. So relax and unwind after this race with Space Panda's world-class Delta 8 and 9 products, cannabis products, for those who don't know. Made in the USA and completely GMO-free, Space Panda delivers top-quality products with amazing results and effects. Experience the ultimate relaxation after a stressful RSR Next Gen Cup Series day with Space Panda. Visit them at spacepandadelta.com RSR, 10% off at your checkout.
And I will say, the head nerd in charge, my wife, has tried the Wild Berry, and she absolutely loves them, says it's an awesome product. So definitely firsthand. As we go back green, and again, no surprise, Ryan Bean jumps out to about a 2-car length lead. Campbell closes in a little bit. You got teammates Schrintenthal and Potter duking it out right now for 3rd place as they're side by side. And Jeremy, now we're starting to see that aggressive racing that we had seen before, because laps are starting to tick down. We got 30 laps to go after we cross the line here, so these drivers are really starting to go. But now you're starting to see names that we haven't seen up in the top 10, because they've been just biding their time. So you got drivers like Nolan Potter, who's back up there. You got Furtick in the 25 is up there.
Oh, huge wreck. 27 involved. 33 just... And he did the same thing the 54 Anthony Younes did. The 33 just... Watch this wreck. 33 Just James Fitzmaurice.
That
Look at
transition
this.
and then hits that wall
Oh
and
my gosh, dude! Just
oh
that's worse
my.
than the 54.
That is way worse. And the 94 of Nolan Potter, the 27 of Fitzmaurice, nowhere to go on that at all. Or no, that was Thibodeau in the 27. 26 had nowhere to go. That's Kent Mueller. I mean, that just popped out of nowhere. And Kent had been running really good there, too, prior to that 2 cautions ago under, for pit strategy, had been running good. But that was just a brutal impact hit for the 33 of Fitzmaurice. We're going to go full speed on that one because that was just insane. A little bit of wall contact in the inside and BAM!
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation. If you remain hitting the inside wall, you're still going to bounce up into traffic. Or you turn right and just, Jesus, take the wheel. And we're going to see the 27. We're going to see what he has in store in this rack. Just down. Just. What do you do as a driver? You see that and you instantly like, well, I'm done. And then you just let go of the wheel.
That's essentially all you can do. Yeah, I
training.
mean, there is no time. I mean, you sit here and take a look at that, and this is Thibodeau we're on board with right now in the 27. There is just no time to react. This is full speed, folks. No time to react. I mean, he could have slowed up a little bit seeing that car come up, but at this point in time, I mean, he could be focused ahead of him. That is pretty far outside of his view at that point in time. He's focused on the car in front of him. And again, just there's no time to react. Absolutely no time. That's one of those you just hold on, hunker down, and just hope for the best.
And if it wasn't for which car did he bounce off there? The 94, Steve Potter. If it wasn't for Steve Potter being right below him when he bounced off that wall, Fitzmaurice would have shot like a cannon back down the track across everybody who was trying to go low to avoid him.
Yeah, and I said Nolan Potter was a 94
lose-lose.
Steve Potter. That was my bad. Too many Potters here. And they,
many
you get
good
confused
Potters.
when they start when it's a Potter row when they both start on the same row.
Potter row. I like it, but
It's just
I've never seen it before, Dustin, and it almost looks like the cars are like being I almost want to use like a weapon, not intentionally, but the way they go down so low and then they have to either smash the inside wall and shoot up the track or just take the fatal move and turn right away from the wall, which you still know you're going to hit the outside wall. And when the cars are packed up like that, you're going to take out somebody, and that wreck just looks so massive. I'm so glad that the Anthony Younes and Fitzmaurice are both in virtual race cars because I don't know how a driver would be after that kind of collision.
they were brutal impacts. And again, I mean, these are virtual machines. I mean, I agree, Jeremy. I don't know how a real driver, they would definitely not be walking away from that. They would definitely be stumbling away a little bit and be shaken up on impacts that some of these drivers have taken, like the 54 of Younes, like the 33 of Fitzmaurice. I mean, these drivers have taken hard ones, but again, it's that a lot of this possibly could be avoided. It's that transition going down to the apron. These drivers have seen all race long the issues it's causing. I would not be going down there. I mean, you've seen it. We already have a lot of fast drivers out of this race, Jeremy. And if you look at, I would say at least 80% of them in some way was due in part to that transition going down. The other ones were, somebody just losing it. But I'd say at least 80% of the cars that are damaged or out of this race due in part to that transition down to the apron.
And Michelle Rittenberry saying it is an enduro race tonight.
For
Endurance
sure, Michelle.
It's not for the long stints. It's for the mentality of how in the hell are you going to finish this race out and not be involved in another caution. Here we are, green flag for the 12th time, and we got one car already spinning deep into the wall there. He might bounce into traffic, waiting to see if there's a caution. We do not. We stay green. That is the number 12. And another wreck here. That's twice now in about 20 laps we've seen that 12 machine of Robert Fitzpatrick, or senior rather, into the wall.
Yeah, yep. So, like I said, it's I agree, Michelle. It is definitely an endurance race through and through as we go on. But like I was saying prior to that caution, and I'm probably going to start talking, these guys are going 3 wide with Harold Watkins in the center. Man, these guys are trying to stack it up. They got 24 laps to go right now, and these drivers are trying to stack it up. But what I was trying to say was you got names up here that we haven't seen up here most of the night right now. As you see the 25 go way wide on that one to avoid contact. But, I mean, Andrew Little's up in the top 10. Alexander Hodge. We've seen Gretsch up here as well. Michael Carter's in the top 10. You got Adam Boughton just outside the top 10 right now. You got Brock and Nolan Potter are up there. So we got a lot of different drivers that are up here now because of the way that the damage and a lot of the damaged and broken down cars that we have right now. But, Jeremy, there's at this rate here, the way that they were going 3 wide, we have another boomer button box caution brewing somewhere because something's got to give because these drivers, they're laying it all out.
You said we got another boomer button box caution. I was starting to look for the yellow flag. I thought we would have had another one, but yeah, I mean, we're coming to lap 130 now, so 21 to go at the line. I am hoping this thing stays green. Not for myself. I care about these drivers, and they just want to get this race done. It's an endurance race. It's 10:30 p.m., which, technically speaking, they have run longer races. But when you have 10 plus cautions, an hour and a half race feels like 3 hours because you're pacing. You got some people angry at each other. You got admins trying to clear and take care of multiple situations that could present themselves in this type of race. And so mentally, they're done. And so I just, for their sake, get this race done with. There's half the cars on this track have no front bumper clip. And I think only a couple cars only have scratches from the outside wall of anything. But yeah, let's get this race cleaned up. It's getting still pretty racy right here around 10th place, though.
It really is. And like you said, Jeremy, I mean, they've ran longer races before, but nothing drags it out than pacing under yellow. Those are the longest laps for a driver sitting in a rig, and it just elongates. And like you said, you hit it right on the nose. It can take an hour and a half race that you would get done with maybe only 1 or 2 cautions. And if you do another hour and a half race that has 10 cautions, it feels like you have been in that rig for 3 hours. It is mentally draining on drivers, and that's when you start seeing the mental mistakes going on as well. The reaction time may not be up to par. It may just be a split second off, and at times that split second, that could be the difference between missing a wreck or being involved in a wreck.
Yeah, 100%. The top 5 has nothing to worry about. They're super spaced out. We're starting to see the race 6th on back. Andrew Little lost a spot that time, and he restarted this thing, I think, in 5th or 6th, and he still remains 6th place last time by. Get a little single foul out behind them. So this is really where the race is, 6th through 10th. They're all bottlenecked for the most part here, as we have 17 laps to go.
Yeah, 17 laps. This is the biggest pack of cars that we have right now that are racing for position. You see Harold Watkins just passed Andrew Little about a lap and a half ago. Andrew Little now under attack by the 10 of Adam Boughton. Right behind him, the 11 of Alexander Hodge. So a lot of these drivers here, again, I had made mention, are finding their chance, so to speak, and their open door possibility of cracking and getting a top 10 finish here in the BestOne RSR Cup Series here at Phoenix. You got Michael Carter just on the outside as well. Again, Furtick, he has been involved in a couple of the incidents, pulled into it, still trucking along. And Richie Coy, even with the damage that he had, Jeremy, look at him back in 13th, still part of this pack that we were talking about, still trying to crack that top 10. So he's still not out, Jeremy. He could still rebound and bring home a top 10 with everything that happened and the damage that's on that car.
Yeah, I mean, 2/3 of this field have been involved in wrecks, and even though you've been a part of 1 or 2, when you have all those other cautions, you get time for repairs, you get time to resettle in and figure some things out, and that's definitely cleared the case for some of these drivers out here right now, as we now have 14 laps to go. If we stay green, this thing will end in a hurry, and I'm sure if you're the leaders like Ryan Bean, you know you've got this race won on pure speed, right? So you really just want to just stay green, guys. I just
Oh,
want to collect my
Zabladil!
trophy, and never mind. We're gonna stay green momentarily. Bob Fitzpatrick was slower than this, and it caused a caution. Does he slow down? He does not. He speeds back up. So somehow, race control and
Oh,
iRacing
man.
says we stay in green. Huge hit here.
It was a huge hit. And again, that
Toy.
transition, going from that transition back up, and it breaks loose, and he gets back on the throttle, and it just gooses it to the outside. And Jeremy, we've talked about this with these cars so many times. It is a very fine line when you are doing stuff. You can either save it, or that thing is going to snap. And when it snaps, there's no bringing it back.
The very next lap, if you want to kick it over to Richie Coy, I'm sure he's got an incident marker on your end. He did the very same thing. He's done almost 300 laps here, and he makes that same mistake 2 laps ago. Hits that transition, hits the inside wall a little bit. Thankfully, he didn't spin or lose a bumper clip, but he definitely lost some ground on the track as we're doing a green flag Nerd TV replay shot. And there's the bump, and there's your good night moment.
Boop.
That's the inside of the blue cone, but look at that. Stay straight at least.
Yeah, and that again, it's that transition. If that we've talked about it, I wouldn't be going down there. That would be a no-no zone down there. I've seen too many people wreck. Not going to be worth it at this point in time. And I think with the damage that some of these cars have, Jeremy, I think is adding to it.
It has to be. The cars are not in the best shape, and you go down there and it upsets your car more so, and you have 10 laps to go, Dustin. There's no need for it. Oh, you see the 23 Harold Watkins on my end anyways, almost clipped the back end there of the 72 Kyle Gretz for position. Now all of a sudden he's going to be underneath the attack of the 10 Adam Boughton here, coming to 9 laps to go, but there's no reason to do it. Maybe on the last lap to pass somebody, sure, but to log these last 9 laps, just stay above that yellow line. This race is all but done. Let's just take care of the stuff here and move on forward to next week.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point in time, try to collect, gather, get as much as what you possibly can, and load that beat up machine up on the hauler. Go to next week and just try to reset and bounce back from it. Phoenix is a tough track. It is a driver's track. There's a lot that goes into Phoenix. And as you can tell, there's a lot of different aspects of Phoenix as well that can bounce back and bite a driver. Tonight, it's been that transition. That transition going down on that apron there through the dog leg. That's what has been the Achilles heel for a number of these drivers. And some of these drivers weren't even the ones going down below that apron. They just got collected in a driver that went down below that apron.
I'm just looking through these cars. I saw one car pit on that last lap by, not for anything in particular, just to probably park the thing, knowing you can't make up any more laps than what you could. 7 to go, as you see on the upper left-hand corner of your screen right now. And looks like everyone's still just really spaced out, logging laps. So minus the cars right in front, we may see one spot for position up ahead of Richie Coy here. Outside of that, we're just kind of logging laps. I know we've got a couple laps left, but I got one sponsor left on my sponsor sheet. I need to shout them out. NJB Designs with 2 S's. NJB Designs is your one-stop shop for all your iRacing design needs. If you need a one-of-a-kind way to showcase your sponsor, look for the NJB Designs, and you will find them on your social medias. Check them out where they are posted, and you will not regret it.
Absolutely is. Again, like you said, we are winding down, 5 laps to go. Ryan Bean still leads this race, has a substantial lead, 1.3 seconds, just a few ticks over his teammate of Nate Campbell. These two have been running 1-2 pretty much most of the night. Nate Campbell, a lot of breathing room behind him, no pressure from the two. Zach Schrententhal, Brock Potter back behind Zach again. Schrententhal got no pressure. Can't say the same for Brock, though, as Brock and Nolan are nose to tail duking it out for that 4th place position as well. So we'll see what happens with that one there and how it shakes down, Jeremy. We got 4 laps to go. Heavy racing back here. between Kyle Gretsch, Harold Watkins, Adam Boughton's in the picture as well. So still a couple positions that could be swapped out. Andrew Little, Burtick, and Carter all duking it out as well for a top 10. So Jeremy, it's not over yet.
It's all but over here. Still technically not over. We've seen some weird things happen, which still could present itself in 2.5 laps. You're looking at the 28, Ryan Bean, the race champion up to this point. He has done everything but finish this race P1. Just a hell of a job once more. This guy has won, I think, 2 or 3 consecutive most wins per season award. If there is an award, and he's got 2 laps to claim yet another victory in his books here for the RSR Next Gen Cup Series. Just a job well done with this guy, staying up front, avoiding everything, and doing everything right, taking the tires when needed, and still carrying himself a really fast car for the next final lap.
Yeah, and that was probably by far one of the best strategies that paid off, Jeremy, was, I mean, if you look at where all the issues happened, they were further in the pack. Being up front, that might have been, as we get the Elevated Esports 1 to go, that might have been the place to be, is right up front. So, I mean, it was hats off to that team there. They've been doing a fantastic job. Again, you still see some racing that's going on right now, but it is just smooth sailing. You got 2 more corners for that number 28 of Ryan Bean as he's coming around the final one right now. Ryan Bean will take your Waterford Concepts 150 race victory here at Phoenix Raceway.
And Lockheed Martin Toyota Camry, just the class of the field this evening. His teammates Nathan Campbell, Zach Strenthal, your top 3. You will talk to all 3 South Motorsports drivers after we go over the final rundown, unofficial results of tonight's race. Caution filled, lots of drama, lots of things I have never seen at Phoenix for this configuration that's been around for 13 years. So, pretty impressive stuff here tonight. But, kept us entertained. Dustin, I know you're doing double duty tonight. It's definitely kept you entertained trying to find all the camera angles for everything that's going on tonight. But you can finally calm down a little bit, back to scheduled programming. And while he's doing his burnout, we're going to go over the unofficial results here for tonight's Waterford Concepts 150. Ryan Bean's going to be your champion here tonight. Nathan Campbell second, Zach Strenthal third, Brock Potter fourth, Nolan Potter fifth.
Look at that top 5, all Stealth Motorsports.
That's it. And then Harold Watkins working in 7th, also on the team. Just 6 drivers in 7 spots. That's super impressive, right? Kyle Gretsch spoiling the party there in 6th, but Adam Boughton 8th, Andrew Little 9th, Dwayne Furtick 10th. Dustin, who you got for 11 through 20?
Michael Carter's going to round out P11. Alexander Hodge, Richie Coy, after that bounce back from that late race caution there, finds himself P13. Brian Fine, after being involved in at least 3 of them, does get a top 15 of 14th. Jerry Culver rounds out 15th. Brandon Gagnon comes in P16 after that hard impact as well. I did notice he did not have a modified at the end. They did get the front clip on there. Thibodeau in 17th. Kevin Ruff in 18th. 19th goes to Justin Hendry. And 20th goes to the 38 of James Catrone.
21st, Robert Fitzpatrick Sr., 22nd, Bob Fitzpatrick. So the Fitzpatricks and the Potters finished the race next to each other. Kind of impressive there. 24th, Kevin Zabadil. 25th, Steve Potter, the only Potter not in the mix there, and got involved in a couple wrecks, unfortunately. So he is 20 laps down on that notion. Kent Mueller in 26th. James Fitzmaurice does finish in 27th. 28th belongs to John Velocity. 29th, Michael Sheffield. 30th is Anthony Younes. 31st place will be Tony Ludi. 32nd goes to Jeff Chandler. 33rd, Richard Gonzalez. And Matt Upbrook did join the server, did make some practice times, but did not start the race. So we will count him as our last place finisher in 34th. And that is your rundown for the RSR BestOne Cup Series for the Waterford Concepts 150. And we're going to go to full screen commercial break and be right back to talk to your top 3. And welcome here to the Martin Sports Post Race Show. We're going to talk to tonight's top 3 finishers, and I'm just going to pick and choose these guys from the Stealth Motorsports channel. First one is going to be the number 2 of Zach Strenthal in the Rawlings Double Bubble Toyota Camry. Zach, congrats on your P3 finish.
Thank you. It's been a while, so it feels really good to finally get that after what feels like forever.
Yeah, it's been a while for sure. Two-parter here. One, how much teamwork was put involved in this setup? I'm looking at this list. You guys, minus Kyle Gretsch, you guys finished all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So close to taking the entire top 6 from this. It's an impressive team effort. So just talk about the team effort going in tonight, and then also I love the sponsor combination you got with the baseball and the gum there. Just kind of talk on how that came to fruition too.
Yeah, thank you. As far as the teamwork goes, I know just about everybody, uh, runs, officials, AIs, everybody puts in a lot of work. So we share a lot of information as far as much as we could do as setup goes. So we do a really good job there as far as trying to get everybody on the right track, um, and as fully prepared as possible. And um, we do what we can there. So I think that definitely plays a big part into a lot of these guys have a lot of knowledge about each racetrack and the car. So it's just a really good team effort there. And then yeah, I mean, baseball has been my background for my whole life. So those are, I mean, you can't get more baseball than double bubble Rawlings and David Sunflower Seeds. So uh, shout out to Harold Watkins for the amazing paint. I think he made it for me last year, and I like it so much. I got to stick with it.
Absolutely. I love the feel of that, man. Just absolutely awesome. What can we expect from you going forward? I mean, obviously Stealth Motorsports mile and a half package is pretty spot on going through here. You know, what can we expect from you going forward? Because it was good to see you have a good run. And do you have anything for that 45 and that 28 in the upcoming weeks?
Hopefully more podiums and top fives. I've been putting in a lot more practice uh, for this season so far that I haven't done in seasons past, which I think plays a big role, at least for me, especially at a difficult track like this. Um, so hopefully a lot more top fives and some podiums. And yeah, we're still working on the 45 and the 28. That's we got to tackle one. We got to be more consistent with top fives before we can look forward and maybe catch a break here and there.
I love the mindset, man. Don't jump straight to the front of the line. Got to pick and choose and see how you can work your way up to that. And, third place tonight will do that. So congrats once more on your P3. Hopefully we'll be talking to you well throughout the 2024 A season. Final thoughts before we let you go.
No, thank you guys for what you guys do, and shout out to my team. Good win for being, I mean, top 6, I think, or top 7, 5 of the top 7 stealth. So can't ask for hardly much more. And hopefully we keep it rolling.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Have a good rest of your night, and we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. That was number 2, Zach Strenthal. And now we're going to rotate over to second place, number 45, Nathan Campbell in the SuperATV.com Toyota Camry. Nathan, congrats on P2.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. I mean, I don't think anyone had anything for Ryan Bean. He was on a class of its own. So it's kind of like a Max Verstappen race where if you just axe out first place, you won the thing. Good job there overall. I asked Zach about the teamwork and how you guys put in so much effort, whether it was AI racing or officials or just testing. What is your contribution to the team on how you guys were doing so well here at Phoenix tonight?
Yeah, to be honest with you, we didn't run too many laps this week. We didn't really want to get burnt out on it. We knew it was going to kind of be a feel thing in the end. I honestly didn't put it together until the race session, which is usually how it goes for me. Even my qualifying lap was way faster than anything I ran in practice somehow. So probably track was a little different anyway. But I was really happy with that qualifying effort. But yeah, I mean, didn't really have anything for Bean there at the end. It's so hard to pass here anyway, and I'm sure you guys caught that with me and Richie there battling for second for a little while. I mean, if you're on the outside, you can pretty much just stay there and hold someone down for the most part. So definitely overdrove it there in the second stint. Started really burning them off. That's why I pit under green when I did. I couldn't even make another lap. So I was able to save a little bit better there in the third stint. And yeah, once I realized Bean was gone, I just tried starting to save myself just in case we got a super late caution. So that's pretty much how it went tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, we did. We noticed the passing was definitely very difficult there. Something else that seemed that was difficult, but not so much for you guys, was that transition down to the apron. How were you guys able to maintain that? Because it seemed like the stealth guys were able just to hold that transition. It did not become as big of an issue as it did for a lot of other drivers, because that transition
Yeah.
probably took out about half the field.
Yeah, you definitely have to be prepared for it, and you got to take the correct line into it. I was really trying to back that corner up during practice, when we were just testing, and I was really cutting the heck out of it. Like I was getting below the yellow almost before the finish line, and I spun out a couple times doing that. So that kind of trained me to stay away from that and just make sure I was taking a really good line and just being ready to catch anything going over that transition. So it wasn't too bad when you're in clean air, but if you had a big old, thankfully I was never in the middle of the pack tonight. But I can see how that'd be a problem if you're trying to race around other people and trying to take different lines.
Yeah, it almost didn't look like no matter where you were hitting that transition, it took out contenders inside the top 10, took them out 15th, 20th. It just did not
Mhm.
matter, except if you were in a stealth motorsports car. I think you were safe on that notion. So, congrats on the finish here, man. Strong performance again. And final thoughts before we let you go.
Yeah, good job to the entire team. All of us in the top seven. So I think that's probably the best finish as a team we've ever had. So really excited about that. But just thank everybody for tuning in, all the friends and family watching. And just like usual, hit me up if you need any side by side or ATV parts.
There we go. That's Nathan Campbell. We'll see you next week, man.
Thanks.
That was the number 45 car. Now it's time to load up the victory lane scene here. Going to be for the number 28, Ryan Bean. Mr. Ryan, congratulations and being the first multi-winner here in the first three races of the season.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, man. I've asked your prior two teammates in here in the podium about the teamwork that's been put out for Stealth Motorsports. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, minus
Yeah.
Kyle Gretsch wrecking the party. You guys just cleanly sweep this race, and so I just a little bit different. Well, I guess kind of similar question. What is your contribution to the team's performance here tonight specifically, and what do we have in store for the rest of the season?
Um, I think it's just our whole group, how competitive we are. You know, we all come from extremely competitive backgrounds, and we're all able to see when somebody's better than you, what to do, what to change. So I think, and they've told me this before, when I joined the team, that they all suddenly got faster because they're chasing somebody. But now, what like you guys don't see in the rest of the league seasons, when we're in practice, they're ahead of me too. So it's just all about getting the lead, qualifying, and I think I can lock in a little better on Tuesdays than I do like Mondays and Sundays whenever we practice. But looking ahead the rest of the season, I think you'll see a lot more of this because we're all hungry. I know these guys want to knock me off the throne, and I gotta keep them in check a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's right now you've got yourself and Campbell have got race victories. I mean, what's it going to take to keep the rest of that Stealth Motorsports team behind you? I mean, you guys obviously have a very stout stable going on. So, I mean, what can we expect going forward on this to ensure that it's another Stealth Motorsports the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think the tracks suit us really well. You know, when we go to tracks like this, where I always say just anywhere that involves a brake pedal, I know I'm going to be competitive, just because I like using both my feet. I get made fun of all the time, but it's just you can't explain it. But I mean, I think we're even better at mile and a halves because it takes more consistency. Or here you can kind of be a little different. drag the brake a little harder or drive it in soft or whatever. But with less road courses, I think we'll actually have a little bit better, I guess, competition, more diverse winners. I will say we got lucky today with all the yellows. I think, at least Richie's up there fighting with me and Nate and Zach and all of us. So again, you just need a little bit of luck and some speed, and right now we're riding high.
Yeah, absolutely. The finish like that for sure. So, congrats once more, man. Second win of the season through 3 races. I know you knock out wins quite often here, and just congrats to yourself for just being a really strong driver, very versatile driver too for the team, and keeping them in check, making them better. So, I love to see that. So, any final thoughts though before we let you go this evening?
Yeah, I just got to thank Ludi and Sheffield for putting on the league. You guys up in the booth, can't wait to watch this one back, especially with all of us being up there. These are the ones that are fun to watch as a group, where everybody's happy. But yeah, on to, I think we're at Bristol next week, so that's actually one of my worst tracks. So we're gonna have our work cut out for us.
We're going to find out. Yep, Bristol Thunder Valley is next Tuesday. So good luck then, man. But until then, have a good rest of your night. We'll see you then.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.
You too. That was number 28, Ryan Bean. Second win of the season. And it's only been 3 races, Dustin. Very familiar scene to have Ryan with multi wins in one season. But the race, I mean, it wasn't the most spectacular. We had spectacular crashes. That for sure, you can't argue that. 290-degree impacts to that dogleg wall, completely insane. But
3. Brandon Gagnon sat here and did it as well. His just
I
further
guess so.
down.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. So, what was that work like for you tonight? You usually have a pretty leisure night when it comes to doing the double duty, but tonight wasn't the case for you.
Sometimes Jason keeps me busy with his requests, so sometimes. But no, it wasn't too bad. It was definitely a lot of camera work on that one there with the wrecks and everything else. Like I said, I'm surprised that they still utilize the apron all race long the way that they did, even though it devastated over half the field in some way, shape, or form. So it was unfortunate, but I mean that is this track. That is Phoenix Raceway. I mean, that's what you expect when you come here. You know that that's going to happen, especially in these cup cars. That's just how the racing goes. So, at this point, man, the question is who's going to step up and knock Stealth Motorsports down off of this run that they've been having. I mean, you take a look at it. I mean, these guys have been dominating. It looked like Richie Coy and a number of others were going to be up there, and we're going to give it a shot and do fantastic. And the monster that is Phoenix Raceway come back and bit a lot of those drivers tonight. So it's going to be interesting next week because we go to an even shorter track. I mean, we go Bristol. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how these drivers are going to handle Thunder Valley. And we know Bristol can, if they tore the cars up here tonight, we know that that's a possibility come next week at Thunder Valley at Bristol.
Yeah, 100%. 10 cautions tonight on a mile track. So Bristol could be very clean, or it could be caution filled like this one tonight. We don't know, and that's why you need to tune in next week to Nerd TV, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. I'm going to do one manual readout for a sponsor, then we have a video to close this thing out like we've started here in 2024. So my manual read-off is Waterford Concepts LLC. It's a leader in engineering, 3D printing, 3D scanning, and composite manufacturing, focused primarily on automotive, RC, and motorsport. Waterford Concepts is your shop to make any ideas a reality. Find them at Facebook, facebook.com/Waterford Concepts. And Dustin, hit that camera roll. Guys, stay safe. Get your nerd on. See you next Tuesday.
This presentation is brought to you in part by
Martin Sports. Get the apparel, look stylish, be badass with apparel from Martin Sports. martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag. Must-have flag marshaling system for any aspiring sim racer. Get yours today at iracingiflag.com. Boomer button boxes. Total sim control at your fingertips. Boomer button boxes.com. If you race hard, then you need to rock hard.
And no station gets you harder than
iRock935.com. If you're a collector and that's your game, then Dusty Pete's, that's the name. DustyPete's.com. TWRS. Got the rig? Got the sim? Now get the speed with setups from Team Watson Racing.com.